Right, let's set the scene. Imagine the world as a giant marketplace, where every country is both a buyer and a seller, and every deal ripples across continents. The hum of commerce is everywhere, ships docking, stock tickers flashing, and deals being struck in boardrooms and on trading floors. It's 2025, and the world is on edge. The atmosphere is thick with uncertainty. People on the streets glance nervously at their phones, waiting for the next headline. In newsrooms, anchors scramble to keep up with the latest developments as the world holds its breath. News headlines scream, "Global trade war heats up. India rejects Trump's tariffs." Social media explodes with opinions, rumors, and memes as everyone tries to make sense of what's happening. The world's attention is locked on this escalating conflict. The air crackles with economic tension as the US, led by Donald Trump, faces off against India, a rising economic powerhouse determined to protect its interests. Behind closed doors, negotiators argue over every detail, while the world's two largest democracies prepare for a high-stakes standoff. This isn't just about money, it's about power, politics, and who gets to set the rules in the global economy. Every handshake, every glare, every negotiation is a move in a much bigger game, with consequences that reach far beyond boardrooms and government offices. Tariffs are suddenly the word on everyone's lips, but what's really at stake is the price of your car, jobs in Pune, and the future of US-India relations. From factory floors to family dinner tables, people everywhere are wondering how this trade war will change their lives. So buckle up. We're diving into a global drama with high stakes and unpredictable twists. The decisions made in the coming months will shape economies, careers, and even the way nations see each other for years to come. Let's unpack how tariffs became the center of this international showdown, and why the outcome will matter to all of us, no matter where we live. Alright, let's break it down. A tariff is just a tax on imported goods. Think of it as an entry fee for foreign products. Governments use tariffs to protect local industries, making imports more expensive so people buy domestic products. But it's a double-edged sword. Tariffs can raise prices for consumers and disrupt supply chains. When one country imposes tariffs, the other often retaliates, sparking a trade war. Suddenly, cars, almonds, and spices all get pricier, and the global economy takes a hit. It's less a precise tool, more a sledgehammer. Everyone feels the impact. That's how a simple tax can spiral into a global conflict. Enter Donald Trump, a man whose approach to global trade has always been anything but conventional. Throughout his political career, Trump has made it clear that he believes America has been taken advantage of by other countries, especially when it comes to trade deals. He's never been one to shy away from bold moves or controversial policies, and in 2025, he's about to make one of his biggest statements yet. Never shy about shaking up trade, Trump has long argued that the US needs to put itself first, even if it means ruffling feathers abroad. His America First agenda is about to take center stage once again. In April 2025, he unveils the Liberation Day tariffs, a sweeping 10% tax on nearly all imports, with even higher rates for countries like India. The announcement sends shockwaves through global markets as businesses and governments scramble to understand the full impact. The main target? The auto industry, a sector that's become a symbol of globalization. For decades, car companies have relied on complex international supply chains to keep costs down and profits up. The goal? Force companies to build cars in America, boosting US jobs and reviving manufacturing towns that have struggled for years. Trump promises that these tariffs will bring factories roaring back to life and put American workers first. But the plan sparks instant controversy. Critics from both sides of the aisle warn that the tariffs could backfire, raising prices for consumers and provoking retaliation from trading partners. Economists warn it's a tax on American consumers and a threat to global supply chains. They argue that higher import costs will ripple through the economy, making everything from cars to electronics more expensive. A car assembled in one country might have parts from a dozen others. Tariffs throw a wrench into that system. Suddenly, the cost of every bolt, chip, and tire is up for debate, and automakers are left scrambling to adapt. Trump frames the move as both economic and national security policy, insisting that a strong manufacturing base is essential for America's independence and safety. He claims that relying on foreign countries for critical goods puts the nation at risk. But critics see it as overreach. Lawmakers, business leaders, and even some allies argue that the tariffs could isolate the US and damage relationships that have taken decades to build. The tariffs aren't just about trade deficits. They're a show of American power. For Trump, it's about sending a message. The US will no longer play by the old rules, and it's willing to flex its muscles to protect its interests. India, with its rapidly growing auto sector and ambitions to become a global manufacturing powerhouse, is right in the crosshairs. Indian officials warn that the tariffs could derail years of progress and spark a trade war. The stage is set for a major confrontation. Diplomats rush to the negotiating table, while businesses brace for uncertainty and consumers wonder what it will mean for their wallets. The world watches as the US takes an aggressive, go-it-alone approach. As the dust settles, one thing is clear: the Liberation Day tariffs have changed the rules of global trade, and the consequences are only beginning to unfold. India's response? Calm, firm, and unyielding. New Delhi rejects the tariffs, insisting trade must be built on mutual respect, not threats. Foreign Minister Jaishankar publicly refutes Trump's claims of a zero-tariff deal, calling negotiations complicated and unresolved. Accepting steep tariffs would cripple India's auto ambitions and set a dangerous precedent. India draws a clear line. It won't be bullied or treated as a junior partner. The government separates trade disputes from broader strategic ties, refusing to let one issue derail the relationship. By standing firm, India defends both its economy and its sovereignty. The message is clear: India won't be strong-armed into submission. Just as tensions peak, a US court steps in. On July 2, 2025, the US Court of International Trade rules the Liberation Day tariffs unlawful. The judges say the president overstepped. Only Congress can impose tariffs. The court blocks the tariffs, giving India new leverage and shifting the power dynamic. The Trump administration vows to appeal, but the legal blow is significant. For India, its vindication standing firm now looks both principled and strategic. The ruling injects uncertainty into the trade war and forces the US back to the negotiating table. The American legal system becomes an unexpected referee. The global trade drama takes a sharp legal turn. The drama deepens as the US tries to justify the tariffs in court. The Trump administration claims the threat of tariffs helped broker a ceasefire between India and Pakistan. India swiftly denies this, insisting the ceasefire was a bilateral achievement, not US leverage. The court rejects the administration's argument, calling it a flimsy excuse for executive overreach. The episode exposes deep fractures in the US-India relationship and damages US credibility. For India, it's a violation of trust and a reason to resist even harder. The ceasefire excuse backfires, hardening India's stance. The world sees the risks of mixing economic threats with sensitive diplomacy. This standoff is part of a bigger shift in global trade. For decades, the world moved toward free trade and complex supply chains. Now, economic nationalism and aggressive tariffs threaten that system. The US-India dispute highlights a clash between multilateral cooperation and go-it-alone tactics. Businesses face uncertainty. How do you invest when tariffs can change overnight? Other countries watch nervously, fearing they could be next. The dream of a seamless global marketplace is fading, replaced by walls and trade blocs. India's stand signals that emerging economies want a real say in shaping the future of trade. So, where are we now? The relationship between the United States and India stands at a pivotal crossroads, with both nations facing mounting pressure to resolve their differences before time runs out. The US court has blocked the tariffs, temporarily halting what could have been a major escalation in the ongoing trade dispute. But the legal fight isn't over. Both sides are preparing for further court battles, and the uncertainty is making businesses on both continents nervous. An older 26% tariff on Indian goods is set to snap back in just 2 days, raising the stakes for exporters and importers alike. If this happens, it could disrupt supply chains and impact prices for everyday consumers. Behind the scenes, US and Indian officials scramble to negotiate a deal, holding urgent meetings and working late into the night to find common ground before the deadline hits. Both countries have set an ambitious goal, reaching $500 billion in trade by 2030. Achieving this target would mean more jobs, stronger economies, and deeper ties between the two democracies. The court's ruling strengthens India's hand at the negotiating table, giving Indian officials new leverage as talks intensify. But big disagreements remain on agriculture, intellectual property, and other sensitive issues. These sticking points have stalled progress for years, and neither side seems willing to budge easily. The political climate in the US is volatile. Election season is heating up, and trade policy is a hot-button issue for voters and politicians alike. Trump won't back down easily. His administration has made it clear that they're willing to play hardball to protect American interests. The next few days are critical. Every hour counts as negotiators race against the clock to avoid a costly trade war. Will there be a last-minute deal forged in the final hours, or will talks collapse under the weight of unresolved issues? If negotiations fail, tariffs could escalate the conflict, leading to higher costs, job losses, and uncertainty for millions. The future of US-India economic ties hangs in the balance, with global markets watching every move. The outcome will shape not just the future of these two nations, but the direction of global trade for years to come. The world is watching, and the clock is ticking. So, there you have it, a tariff dispute turned global saga. Trump's tariffs were meant to show American strength, but India refused to bend. The US court's intervention changed the game, reminding everyone that even presidents must follow the rules. Now, both nations face a choice: escalate the conflict or find common ground. The stakes are high. Jobs, prices, and global stability are all on the line. This isn't just about politicians, it affects everyday lives and the world we're building. As the US and India navigate this delicate dance, one question remains. In a connected world, can anyone really win a trade war?